Webley Thornwall here, a typical American boy from a typical American city, LA in the 1960s. I was really what you'd call a square, not like a lot of kids my age who are into hot rods and surfing. What I really liked more than anything was the movies, and I started real young. Every Saturday morning I could, I'd be at a local kids' matinee. Outer Space, Monsters, Westerns, you name it and I'd watch it. In high school I watched even more, with a lot of it being grown-up stuff. I went up to Berkeley to the university. I kicked around the off-campus neighborhood and found the Cinema Guild Theater right away. Two small art houses, always double bills of great stuff, mostly from Europe, or American classics from the silence up to the 40s. In school, I was majoring in poli-sci, as we used to call political science. I didn't know what I was going to do with it, but it seemed like an okay idea at the time. I started to fancy myself a kind of intellectual, and often I wore a tweed sport jacket with leather elbow patches to show I was a deep thinker or something. And always going to the movies. I watched toga epics from Italy. Naturalistic Italian dramas. I kept going to school, of course, even though sometimes I was hitting movies 3 or 4 times a week, going over to San Francisco too on the bus. And then one night at the Cinema Guild came the film program that changed my life. Even with its wobbly soundtrack, that one spoke to me loud and clear, and I never looked back. Experimental cinema was it for me. Fortunately, I didn't get drafted. I opposed the war, for sure, but I didn't do the Berkeley thing and demonstrate over it. And I didn't get into the hippie thing either as the decade wore on. I found a group that showed only my type of films, went to showing after showing.
Yes, that's right, that's what I said, that's what I said. Have you read Apollinaire? What do you mean I haven't read Apollinaire? I read Apollinaire.
So I graduated. And what would be next? Poli-sci hadn't gotten me interested in politics. I wasn't going to go to law school or work for some legislator.
The United States Postal
I threw up
Service
my
is a
hands and
network
went to work for the
working
post
together
office.
to keep us in touch. Local sorting facility.
Worked my way up through the
Processing
ranks.
journey.
Finally hooked up with a
This
really
mail
good
goes
woman
onto a
and got
conveyor
married.
belt, zipping through a series of belts and
And I
rollers.
kept going to the
Letters are
movies.
separated from
Expanded my horizons. Watched movies from Thailand and all kinds of other
Next stop,
places.
a computer.
ถ้าไอแดงมันเป็นผีไปเอาพระเนี่ยไปห้อยคอมัน
And crazy stuff. What did I do when I retired? I had saved some money and was finally ready to chase my dream, my own movie theater. I looked at trashed theaters, imagining a small repertory place that would serve food and alcohol with comfortable seating for the discerning cinema aficionado, no cell phones allowed. I said to my wife, people are inherently social. They want to overcome the isolation of staying at home and doing nothing but streaming. Always practical, she said. Well, what about bringing an old wreck up to code? Public health regulations for serving food, throwing out people who won't give up their cell phones. Of course, she was right. So it was back to the drawing board, but not for long. Soon I was the force behind a summer program of outdoor films in the town where we lived. I chose the repertoire, rented the inflatable screen, ran the projector. Now that was heaven for me. And since I was driving the bus, I could throw in an old oddball favorite from time to time if I felt like it. And maybe I could pass the baton to one of the young folks here tonight.